everyone. Thank you all for waiting. My name is Erica Joy Salcedo, and I am an enrollment counselor at EduConnect USA. We want to thank you all for taking the time to join this insightful session about visa interview preparation. Also, we want to ensure that this webinar addresses your concerns and questions. So if you have any questions, please type them in the message box and our speaker will answer them at the end of the webinar. Please be reminded to turn off your microphones while the speaker is presenting. Thank you. Now, I'd like to introduce our esteemed speaker, Ms. Christina Maagal. The floor is yours, Ms. Christina.
Hi, thank you very much, Erica. Thank you for all the attendees who are with us today. Good afternoon, good evening. Probably if some of you are outside, India, who are in the US or somewhere else. So I would like to welcome everybody and thank you for joining the webinar. So this webinar is really intended for our students who are already admitted or in the admission process of Alliant International University because we want to help our candidates to prepare for their actual visa interview. As what Erica mentioned, please feel free later on to ask any questions regarding visa preparation or visa application. So I would like to share my screen for the presentation today. Okay. I'm having a little issue with my. Okay, so okay. Here, can you see my screen?
Yes, Ms. Christina, we can see the screen.
Okay, hold on. I'll probably start. Okay. Good. So first of all, I'd like to inform everybody that once you are already in the admission or application process of Alliant, we always have to remember that the last stage of the admission process is the visa application. So first of all, the visa process starts with you being admitted to the university. So once you get your admission letter, you will then receive your I-20 or the I-901 from the university. So once you receive this document, it is important that you immediately process your SEVIS. So sometimes, and we noticed this from our past candidates, it's hard for them to get visa dates because they have not processed their SEVIS yet. So it is advisable that you process SEVIS so that you can proceed to getting a visa interview. Now, we do understand there are students who are hesitant to process SEVIS because there is a fee there, right? The fee is around 350, and I have several questions regarding this before, like if I process SEVIS but I don't get any visa dates within the year, so my SEVIS fee will be, it will be terminated, right? So the answer for that is your SEVIS duration or the effectivity of your SEVIS is for 1 year. So you don't have to worry because once you process your SEVIS, you may be at this point in time, you will not get a date yet, but you can get a date probably next month or let's say in September. So your SEVIS is still valid because the validity of your SEVIS is for 1 year. It is important that you start processing your SEVIS once you have received your I-20 from Alliant. Okay, so after you process your service, then you will get a schedule or process your um, application, visa application to your U.S. embassy in your country. Now, the processing fee, if you were familiar or knowledgeable of the previous rate, that used to be 160. Now the visa application is already 185. So that's why, and we acknowledge this, it we even before you leave, you already spent so much, right? So that's much as possible, we want you to get the visa approval from your first interview. That's why we always want the candidates to be really prepared before going to their actual visa interview. Your visa application fee is 185, your service fee is 350, so that's a big amount already. So after securing a date, because once you paid, complete your visa application, you get a date. Once you get those information, you will and you can schedule a visa interview preparation with us, with my team, and it's for free. Again, I would like to emphasize it is a free service of EduConnect USA. We want our candidates to know this. And besides, there are dates that we give out, calendars that we give out from my team, from the enrollment team of EduConnect USA, that you can schedule. So it is important to take advantage of that service as well. It is for free anyway, and this is for your advantage. So again, once you get a date, we always tell the candidate to secure a visa interview practice with the team 5 or 7 days before their actual visa interview. Why? Because we want them to, at least not forget the information or the tips that we give out to them. Like if you schedule this, like I have candidates who schedule visa interview practice without even an actual visa date yet. So we will like to encourage the candidate to secure a date first, then 5 days or 7 days before that actual visa interview, you can schedule a visa interview practice with us at least 5 days or 7 days before. Why? Because we don't want you to forget the information that we gave out during the visa interview practice. On the visa interview practice, we always ask questions about the candidates, about your application, your motivation why you want to study in the US, your motivation why you want to get a master's degree or a DBA or a PhD or a master's of science in the United States and not in your country. We always ask questions about you know what is your reasoning on like applying to Alliant, not to other university? Why only this university? Because these questions normally are given out by the visa officer during the actual visa interview of the candidates. And individually, when we do visa interview practice, this is individual, right? It's an enrollment counselor to a particular applicant. Now, these tips that we're sharing with you right now is just the general tips. During the visa interview practice, if you notice, we sometimes ask questions that may you think is not related to your visa application. But come to think of it, it will be related because when the visa officer asks you particular questions regarding your family members, regarding your financial documents, regarding your business or the businesses of your sponsors. So each individual or each applicant is of course different, right? So you have different reasonings, you have different reasons why you applied to Alliant, different sponsors. So in a sense, it is different in each individual. So please don't get intimidated or worry if we ask questions that you think might not be related to your visa application, but somehow you will find it in the visa interview practice. It will be for your benefit as much as possible as well. Please feel free to tell the visa or the enrollment team if you have any questions about your application. Let's say you might say to the enrollment counselor who will do your visa interview practice, oh, I'm concerned about this particular issue that I have. Do you think it will, affect my visa application? Now, I would like to, of course, give a little background that we don't exactly know, right? The reason why a visa officer will deny a candidate because they will just give out a letter or a form if a student is denied. Now, they don't give us a specific answer to the denial or any specific reason for a denial. But as much as possible, because based on our previous candidates' experience, more or less we have an idea, but it's not the actual. We don't really have the exact reason. We have an idea why a student is denied or probably is denied because of a particular reason. That's why, as much as possible, we want you to be prepared during your visa interview or days before your actual visa interview. Also, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Like if you have already secured the date and you want a practice in a particular date, probably earlier than 5 days, and that would be fine. But as much as possible, also my tip, which I will always tell the candidate, when you do the visa interview practice with the team, please write down all the tips or the recommendations or the suggestions of the enrollment counselor, or listen carefully to the enrollment counselor's advice or suggestions, because those are very important matters. Now, our practice or the actual questions that we ask during the visa interview practice are very important information, because we get this from our previous candidates who are both approved and who are or were denied as well. So all informations are very important. So we ask the students particular questions. Please understand that each candidate is different, so individual. You have personal reasons why you want to go to the US and study in the United States. You have personal reasons why you want to apply at Alliant. You have personal reasons why only in the United States and not getting visa, I mean, not getting a master's, a DBA, or PhD program in your country. Okay, so each candidate is different. So we want to recognize, and we want you to recognize that for a fact, because we cannot. Um, I know you can browse on YouTube, on other social media, platforms, or how to do visa interview. But I think what the student or the applicant is forgetting, that each application is, of course, unique to the individual. The common thing that we tell the candidate is that, and probably you've heard this already from the enrollment counselors, there will be no questions during the visa interview that you cannot answer, because all the information that will ask by the visa officer, you have all those answers. And that's why it's important that you review, of course, your program, go back to, why you contemplated applying in the United States, why you want to study at Alliant, and so on and so forth. It is individual and unique to you. So it's very important that you will remember this information. Of course, once you have successfully received your visa, you have to notify us, EduConnect USA, that you have received your visa, because we have to inform the university as well. So once we do the endorsement to Alliant that you have successfully received the visa, the next step, there are still some important documents that you have to comply to the university so that they will confirm you as a student in that particular intake that you're joining. Okay. By the way, please write down any questions if you have on the chat box. Okay, Erica will be able to see it so that I can answer it later on. Okay, so during visa interview practice, so these are the common questions that the visa officer asks a student. Why Alliant? Why did you select this university? Um, Sorry about that. So why did you choose Alliant? What is your ties to your home country? Meaning, oh, I'm so happy that we have still participants joining in. So why are you your ties to your home country, meaning the reason why you will go home after, or you go back to your country after getting your master's degree or your DBA or your PhD in the United States. By default, the US officer will see anybody applying for non-immigrant visa as somebody who is intending to stay in the United States. Okay, by default, they will see you as somebody who will do that. So it's really up to us to convince the visa officer that your intention is to just get your master's or DBA or PhD, your degree, and go home or go back to your country because you have every reason to do so, meaning your ties to home country is stronger rather than staying in the United States. Of course, some important matters as well are your sponsors and your financial documents. Now, probably some of you who are here have already done a visa interview, and unfortunately, were not given the visas. We can please please don't get discouraged. Okay, please don't get discouraged, because by in actual and by experience, we have students who have first time probably was denied the visa, and second time we did when they did the visa interview practice with us, they were able to get the visa approved. Okay, so it is important that you will be able to answer carefully your sponsors and your financial documents and your financial questions. So, just to give you an experience from my previous candidate, unfortunately, and it was a traumatizing event for him, because he applied for the visa, and he told me during his visa interview, when he did the visa interview, you know there were, I think, 5 questions. The first and fourth, up to fourth questions, he can see that the visa officer was smiling and was agreeable to his answers. And the last question was, how much is the sponsor earning per month? And unfortunately, he was not able to give it. So after that question, the visa officer returned his passport and told him that, I'm sorry, you're not qualified for the visa right now. When the student gave a question, actually, the student was kind of brave. He asked the visa officer, like, if you don't mind, ma'am, may I know why I'm denied? And fortunately, which is meaning to say fortunately, because not all visa officers will answer your questions, right? The visa officer said, you don't even know how much your sponsor is earning, why should I give you the visa? So this is an actual event, or this was an actual scenario. So that's why it's important to know as well, and you will be able to uh, support your sponsorship. Why is this person sponsoring you? And the financial backgrounds, like what is the source of income of your sponsors, and how much is he earning or she earning monthly or annually. It's very important information. But most of all, I want you to really go back to your knowing your program. Knowing your program does not only mean that, yes, I'm applying for master's program or the DBA program at Alliant. There are more information about this. Number one is like, of course, how did you process your application? So what were the documents you submitted? What were the documents that Alliant asked from you to, to submit for your admission? What are the tests that you have taken? And what are the tests that were not asked from you by the visa officer? What is the course, or I mean the subjects, or what are the subjects that you are under your program? Like, where is the university? Why Alliance? Any information about those courses or courses related are very important information. Again, I would like to repeat, there will be no questions during your visa interview that you could not answer. So it will be entirely about you, your program, your connections, your travels, anything about you. Okay, so please remember this information. So that could mean when you do prepare for your visa interview, you have already an idea. Okay. So for visa approval rates, of course, we noticed this, and I think the attendees here are mostly from India, if I'm not mistaken. Unfortunately, we are having issues with the visa dates, right? So, um, but we noticed, I think on Friday, we check it out. Some of the visa consulate, I mean, the office, US Embassy or US Consulate office in India are opening up. So there are 30 days, 31 days, there are 100 days. Um, I could not give you a rate or the approval rate for this because that is the issue right now. But so far, if the student has did schedule a visa interview practice with us, there's a good number of or high chances of approval rate. It's just that sometimes I think probably the students, you could not also take out the fact that when you do visa interview, especially if you're a second timer or probably a third timer on the visa, you will have this anxiety or nervousness because you already had an experience and you always think that, oh no, I was denied twice already, I was denied once already, they probably will deny me again. So that is a actual scenario, but as much as possible, if you secure another date, even if you had previously been denied, always do a visa interview practice again with us. It's for free anyway, and if time permits, you have to prepare like days before. It could really help you because we will always go back to that interview that you had. You think it's unsuccessful visa interview. We always go back to that. We check how or what were the questions, how did you answer it, and so that by the time on your second interview, you will be able to, take out that nervousness and give you more confidence in answering the visa officer. So we always also request from the candidates that 99% of your visa approval is really depending on you. Okay. So please take seriously whatever suggestions or recommendations the enrollment counselors are giving you. So all the information that we give out, most of them are actual informations or, from our previous experience, from our previous students. So please take down notes. Do not forget to ask or be embarrassed to ask questions, or don't be scared to ask questions. We are here to, of course, prepare you and to give you a better chance in your visa application. So denials, like what I said earlier, that example that was an actual denial, the only thing that was really traumatic for that candidate when he was not able to give out that information about the income of his sponsor, because during our visa interview practice, I did a practice with him. during the visa interview practice, I told the student to please take down and ask, take down notes and ask your sponsor how much he or she is earning, because that might be asked during your visa interview. And true enough, it was asked. Unfortunately, that student was not able to get that information even before, the actual visa interview practice. So I think that was the traumatizing thing that the student really take it to his heart, because after that he did not apply anymore. I mean, you can always do a second visa interview, but he told me that he's traumatized with what happened. So you see, there are information that we give out to you and suggestions, so please take that seriously. Anyway, all the suggestions that we give out are for your benefit, and of course for the success of your visa application. What else? So, visa interview dates. Our tip for this, if you haven't secured it yet, if you have, some of you probably have secured it already, but if some of you have not secured it yet, I would really suggest that you secure a date that is a Monday and the first hour of the day. Now, not all countries have the what you call this, the luxury of choosing the time, because like what I said, there are some countries whose visa availability is so it's so limited. Sometimes the only available time there is the last time of the day. Then get it, okay? If that's the only thing that you have, then get it. But if you have the luxury of securing a date and choosing a date and a time, it's better that you get a Monday and the first day of the week. If, again, if it's not possible, then whatever date and time you have to get it already. Also, the start date, if all of you are for the August intake, as much as possible, get a date 2 weeks before the start of the visa interview. I mean, the intake. August 19 is the start of the August intake. If you were not able to get it and what you have secured right now is, let's say, September, we suggest that you request for an expedited visa application. Just remember to, of course, do not cancel the visa that you already secured at this point in time. Get that visa, the one that you have secured, and request for an expedited visa application, because your intake is in August 19th. Okay, so most of the U.S. embassies would, you know, ag- they would approve the expedited visa date request, but unfortunately some don't. So if that is not possible, then you really have to move your intake to the next possible intake. So um at this point in time, maybe I will ask if there are questions at this point in time, because probably you have any questions. There's none yet.
Hello.
Okay, I think there's one question. Oh, yeah, Omotola, hello. Yes,
Yeah, I do have a
go ahead,
question.
Omotola.
Thanks for the opportunity. I'd actually
And
applied
Prashant as well.
to Alliance before, and I had my interview
There,
twice
I could not
already.
hear you.
Can you hear me?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Who's this, please?
Perfect. Okay, so I'd applied to the Alliance before. I really wanted to get in for the hospitality program that at the
Omotola, right?
Vatel. Yeah, yeah, I'm
Yes,
Omotola
Omotola.
from
Mm-hmm.
Nigeria. I'm sorry,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't introduce myself. It's nice
No, I
meeting
know
you.
you. Yeah, I know you. I know you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I had applied for Alliance because of the VATEL
Program. Mm-hmm.
hospitality program. Yeah. And
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm really familiar with literally all the admin coordinators.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would have emailed you before,
Yes, you did.
Isabel, yeah,
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
the other people basically. So fortunately, I'm trying to share this little tip today because I'm aware there are other people who are applying and they're looking forward to getting their visa approved.
Mm-hmm.
So in my case, I would
Mm-hmm.
say that the reason for the deniers, which we always do not know because the consular doesn't
Yes.
tell you, I would say the
Mm-hmm.
most of the time, or from what I think, it's due to the eye deficit, which is like the total fee we have to pay in the school. I understand the
Mm-hmm.
Alliance school fee, the Alliance tuition is just 14,000, which isn't a lot. But unfortunately, this is California and the cost of living is very much expensive. And
Mm-hmm.
on
Mm-hmm.
the high 20, we have over 22,000. So,
Mm-hmm.
getting to the embassy and because say for me the first time I went, I
Mm-hmm.
was actually I think I had a case and all that. And then the second time the question were not a problem for me to answer because I had done
Mm-hmm.
a lot of mock interviews. Have I
Yeah.
have like few friends from different that applied to different university, and we also did practice together. So most
Mm-hmm.
of the time, from what I realize, it's always the last question. So the last time it was when I got asked, um, who is going to cover my deficits. Of course, this is my family. And then I told
Mm-hmm.
them my parents. So I kind
Mm-hmm.
of just think that the embassy really, I don't know for other country, but for my country, Nigeria, they usually just don't believe that
Your
your
parents.
family
Yeah.
will take charge of that huge amount of money. They believe that you would still want to take some student loan or
Mm-hmm.
employment in the USA when you get there because the fee is quite a lot. I when I
Mm-hmm.
saw this when I saw the sorry, when I saw the suggestion for this interview with Alliance, I kind of feel great because I thought this didn't happen the time I started with Alliance, and I thought this could actually prepare the people that had applied for
Mm-hmm.
admission with Alliance and give them a little
Yeah.
clue on what to expect, which is actually a great step by Alliance. And because I think this should actually be properly taken care of. And so I'm just thinking, I think if Alliance could actually just a little bit try to offer some sort of scholarship to reduce the
Mm-hmm.
deficit, or maybe they don't even put the cost of living on the I-20. I don't know if that's going to be
Mm-hmm.
possible, because most of the time when the consulate or the consular, when they see this huge deficit and there's no some sort of funding from the school, they don't believe that your family will be able to take
Mm-hmm.
care of your fee. They kind of think you're going to take up employment in the US. I know
Correct.
I've said that before, but that is the case. So unfortunately, I couldn't get my approval at the time, but I tried again the last time. I added my employer as my source of funding also, which I thought could have been easier for them to approve me since it's not just my parent and my personal saving alone. So, but still, maybe it's the home tie, I don't know. But still and still, I would still say if Allian could just do some sort of scholarship on the I-20
Mm-hmm.
or never even include the cost of living, if that is possible. I don't know if that's possible, but if it's
Mm-hmm.
possible, just to help the student to have lesser deficit, because once the deficit is much more than 20,000, they think is a lot. And they just don't believe you're not going to the US to
Mm-hmm.
work. So yeah, I don't
Okay.
know if this is a good
Okay.
point.
I think thank you for your recommendation, Omotola. I do
You're
understand.
welcome.
Yeah. Yeah, I do understand that there are some students who are, struggling on this part, defending this to the embassy, like, oh, this will cost you this much. Okay. I pretty sure some of the candidates here who had previously had this unsuccessful visa were informed by the visa officer. This is this much, right? It would cost you this much. So that is a statement that normally a visa officer gives out to the student applying for a visa. Now, regarding your concern about the tuition, all the tuitions actually, regardless if you are denied or approved, you have the same tuition if you are um, in a particular applicant for a particular program, let's say for the VATEL program. So that these are not issues with other candidates who are have been admitted and like approved as well with the visa, but these are also not some the issues for some other candidates who were denied the visa. So it really is a case to case basis. And when I say it's case to case basis, is how will you answer that part of a statement of the visa officer, right? There is a scholarship that Alliant does offer to students, but like what we told all the candidates, we have to manage your expectation because the scholarships offered at the university are very limited and it has a deadline. So you have to get that scholarship, but it's not even a full scholarship. It's a certain amount. So there is a certain month in a year where a applicant can apply for the scholarship. You can do this once you are already admitted. Now, even if it's in a scholarship, because we have students who have grants, they can support themselves. They have a good number of, their sponsors are even the financial documents are even way too high compared to the what is required by the university. Sometimes they are not given the visa. So it's really case to case basis. And because like what and I agree with you, we don't really know, and if you are fortunate to be given the reason why you are denied by the visa officer, it's important that you have to understand how am I going to answer or give out a convincing answer to the visa officer that I can support myself and with the help of my sponsors, because there are also programs who are more expensive compared to the master's program, and they were given the visa. So you see, it's really about how you support your answer. So if the visa officer tells you like, oh, I don't think you can afford this program, sometimes they will tell you out like, that way, oh, this will cost you 80,000 USD. So on the visa interview practice with us, we will always tell you how you will rebut or like not rebut, how will you answer that kind of statement or phrases given by the US embassy or US officer, US visa officer. Now, it is important that all the programs at Alliant required a certain amount to show that you as an applicant can support yourself by the help of your sponsors as well if you study in the US. That is the important fact, so that the financial documents or the financial requirement, it shows as well the estimated, it's even just an estimate. Okay, now do you understand that at this point in time, I think you're aware that there are some increases in the tuition and there are increases as well on the cost of living. So on your financial documents, those are estimated expense based on what the university, um, the industry right now, the rents in the hotels, your cost of living. So that is an estimate based on those informations. Now, if we take that out, I don't think it's also credible, right? That you will not spend anything in the US, especially in California, because the US officer knows they are aware how much the cost of living in the United States is. So it's really about how you will, answer the visa officer. Now, I think you also point out, Mutola, that the visa officer will not believe you that you're parents or your family members can support you. In our, I think some of you will notice this or probably have given the information by the enrollment counselor that as much as possible, when you do, present your financial documents to the university, please understand that your sponsor should be related to you because it's easier for you to give an answer when you do a visa interview practice. Now, we have sponsors, we have students whose sponsors are not even related to them. And unfortunately, and this is really a fact, unfortunately, they were not given the visa because at the back of the mind of the visa officer, he will always ask this question: why is this person who's not related to this candidate would sponsor him or her? Right? So that is the doubt. Now, again, we would go back to what I mentioned earlier. By default, the visa officers see you as somebody who will stay in the United States by default. So if there's a certain doubt there that, I don't believe he is sponsor, so that will also affect your visa application. It is better that you have a family member, a relative, close relative that will give or be your sponsors because they know that you are, family members. Family support family members, right? So it's easier to support. Now, the next question will then be, why is it your parents? What is the source of income of your parents? So sometimes we have students whose visa, I mean, like parents does not have or cannot declare a good source of income, meaning they are teachers, they don't have any business. The visa officers, they are trained officials, okay? They train for 10 to 15 years to be in that position. So they always think in this profession in your country, they know or at least have an idea how much this kind of employment or salary grade is a person earning. So if you declare that your parents is sponsoring you and the source of income is only this salary, of course, the visa officer will doubt that they can support you. Okay? So that's how you should understand why sometimes the visa officer will not give you the visa if you just declared your parents and whose income is not even, and they can check that your income or the income of your parents cannot support the students expenses in the United States. So that's part of the visa interview practice. We do that, um, and what I mentioned earlier, sometimes you ask some important information that you think is very personal to you, but it could be really helpful to prepare you for a successful visa interview. So you always go back to choose, by the way, you can have as many sponsors as you can. I think that's what the students are forgetting, as long as they are related to you. So if you have your parents, if you have your sister, your brother, or your aunts and your uncle, then that would be fine. Okay. As long as the amount is equivalent to the total requirement that the university is asking. So that's how I normally address that kind of concern, Mutola. But don't don't worry. Of course, we will address it again on your next visa interview practice with the enrollment counselor, maybe with Isabel, and she can give you more tips on how to do this. If you are still on the process of your admission, I think you are deferred for another intake. Um, Also, please note whoever that you have declared on the visa on your application as your sponsors should be the ones that you will declare on your visa application. Okay, when you apply, when you do your actual visa interview, declare whoever is in your documents, because we don't want the visa officer to ask a copy of your financial documents. You verbally mention that this is my sponsor, but when the visa officer checks your documents, it's not even on the on the document. So there is a discrepancy already of the information. So that also could affect your visa, result. Okay. I hope, Omotola, that answers your, at least gives a little, insight. So, but don't worry, please schedule another visas interview practice with Isabel so that she can give you more details on this. I think there was another.
Much.
Oh, no problem, Amotola. There's another question earlier, or a person wants to ask a question.
From Prashant, any recommendation for document Dropbox and additional documents should I add to the list? Basic documents D160, I-20, I-09 visa fee, as what I have heard, they don't accept. Extra documents, sometimes they do.
Okay, good question. So, we want the students to follow the instructions on what is on the website. Example, if you're a Dropbox applicant. Okay, for the information of people who are not aware of Dropbox, you are allowed to do Dropbox application or visa interview face-to-face waiver. So meaning there's no actual face-to-face visa interview. You can do a Dropbox. We call it the Dropbox for short. If you have a J1 prior visa and your J1 visa was approved, if you have a current B1, B2 visa, you can do a Dropbox if you don't want to do a face-to-face interview. So you can do a Dropbox. Now, whatever it is recommended and what is stated on the requirements by the U.S. Embassy, um, the documents that you have to submit, please follow what is on the documents or on the website. It is also, I believe, a country to country, okay, requirement. So just like your face-to-face interview, there are country to country requirements. In India, for actual visa interview, do you have 2 days because you have biometrics and your actual visa date? In other countries, it's only one date and you have to do your biometrics at the same time. So it is country to country, Prashant. So it's important that you just have to follow the instruction on what the website, the US Embassy website is giving you. Okay. And should there be any uncertainties, it is much better that you call the embassy because they are the right person to give out the information if there are things that you still need to submit. Okay. Anybody else or any other questions? Okay, so maybe I should proceed.
Ma'am,
When
regarding the university,
oh, sorry.
means what we have to answer to the officer regarding the university means
Oh.
academic background we have to explain or some projects work.
Mm.
I need to know.
Okay, your question is why did you choose Alliant? Is that correct, Prince?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. If anybody of you have already had a visa interview practice with me, I always ask the same question and I throw it back to the candidate because I can give you an answer to that, but that is not the answer that you will have that is personal to you. Because I don't know the reason why you wanted to apply to Alliant. It's only the candidate applying to the university or to that university who can give a personal answer. So that's why I will always ask you or the candidate, Prince, in the first place, you go back to why did I apply at Alliant anyway? What was your reason? What did you see at Alliant that you did not see in the other university? Who advised you or who introduced you to Alliant? What information did you hear about the university that made you decide, oh, I'm going to take this program at Alliant only? So you see, Prince, always I don't give an answer. I could answer that question because I know what Alliant is, but it will not be the same answer to you. It will not be personal to you. So all questions on your visa interview are things that you know personally. You have personal reasons to that. Okay, you can see on the website, yes, you have factual information about the university, like the university is this and that. But go back to the reason why, in the first place, did you apply to that university? What really made you decide, oh, I want to take this university? I want to apply this, because that will be the answer that the visa officer will want to hear from you. It will not be the, I am pretty sure of this. You will see scripted information about the university. Oh, Alliant is this and that. They have a long history and so on and so forth. But that information is not the information that the visa officer wants to hear. They want to find out, why did you choose Alliant? Why did you only choose this university? What made you decide? What's your personal reason? So, Prince, to give you an answer, it really boils down to your personal reason. Why, in fact, did you choose Alliant? So you write it down, take note and go back to, yeah, I've heard about this. My friend told me about Alliant. They told me about this program is really good, and this program is only offered at Alliant International University. That could be the reason, right? But it is personal. Each individual or each applicant has a different reason why they only applied to the university. There is a general information. Do you have it on the website about the university? We even give you 10 points to remember about Alliant, right? Or 10 points why you chose Alliant, or 10 information about the university. But that was only a tip. But the most important thing is the personal reason why you chose Alliance. So that's how I will answer that, Prince. And you have to really go back to that time when you really did choose Alliant International University. So that's my take on that and my tip on that, Prince. I hope that helps you,
Okay.
because
Thank you,
yeah,
madam.
it's important. Okay, anything else? Any other questions?
Miss Christina, Ajoy is raising his or her hand.
Oh, okay. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, I can hear you,
Yeah.
Jimin.
So So very good evening to all of you. So
Yeah.
my question is like quite different. That is totally it's particular for my case only. I have been refused for 8 times just for my F1 applications in last past 6 years, just because of my father does have quite bad history for immigrations in United States, and they live in United States. They are US citizen. So every time I go over there, they are, rather than they are focusing on my curriculum or focusing on my education, they are focusing on my family background. So
Okay.
what your father do, how they came in US and all this. So how I
Yes.
can let them know that their intent is totally different and my intent
Mm.
is totally different. How can convince them that my father immigration intent does not determine my immigration intent, or does not determine that my F1 interviews? So how I can convince the user of US visa counselor that that is the totally different scenario?
Okay. Thank you, Jamin, for that very important information. And it is really unfortunate. But to let you know, and that it's not to console you or anything, right? We have candidates of the same issue. So that student did not inform me during the visa interview practice that his or her family members went to the United States illegally, meaning they went there, legally they went there, B1, B2, but they overstayed and they are out of status already. So during her visa interview, because the visa officer has a record of the family members, remember, important information, all family members or
Right,
anybody related to you who applied for a visa in the United States, they have a record. Okay, they have a
right.
record on that. So that candidate, during the visa interview, the actual visa interview, she told me after the visa interview that all her questions were about her parents, not even about her. Okay, The unfortunate thing is that, and this is factual, Jamin, and I'm really sorry to say this. When I told the candidate, you should have told me about that earlier on before the visa application, because I could suggest that you just have to wait that your parents should have a better standing or better status in the United States, because that's what also the visa officer said before you apply for a visa. Unfortunately, your parents, when they migrated to the United States or moved to the US, um, they probably overstayed. I'm not sure of the details. It's the embassy who knows the details. There is a reason why, Jamie. And sometimes, even if you are a different visa, your family members is in a different visa, it could ripple down to any family members who wants to get in the United States.
Okay.
So you see, you are the unfortunately, you got the effect. Your parents are already there, the more they will not admit you and give you the visa, because that's all the more reason your parents will never go home anymore, and you're also more intention, more reason that you will never go back to your country because your parents are already in the United States. That's the reason why they will not give you the visa. That's just my evaluation. That's how I see it, because that's what happened to one of our candidates. Actually, two of our candidates. So it's just sad that it affected you, but there are reasons that the visa officer will only know. They don't even tell us. But if you know the information, your parents are staying there. Um, the point of entry to the U.S. is not legally, the the what you call this legal staying in the United States. So it's unfortunate that you are the result. I mean, your application is denied. I'm so sorry about that. I could not give you any advice
Okay.
as to what you should do, because if that's how the visa officer sees it, then most likely they will not give you the visa.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
No problem, Jamie. Anybody else? Any other questions? So if you are I think this is also important, like if you
Hello,
have
ma'am.
family. Oh, okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
Can I have a question?
Who's this, please?
Wasi.
Fasi. Yes, go ahead.
Uh, I have applied to a low-ranking university and have admission. How I should answer why I choose this university? It's a
I,
low-ranking and I have admission from MBA.
you're not an Alliant applicant? Hello? Are
Hello?
you a student? Are you a student of Alliant International University?
No.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I'm not aware. I'm not familiar with your university. This is a webinar for all the applicants at Alliant International University, Fasi.
Okay. Sorry.
So I could not give you. I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with your university, so I could not give you an advice. Sorry, Fasi.
Okay. Sorry.
No problem. I'm glad you're here, though. Anybody else before I proceed? I think one more.
Yes, we do have one more from Prashant. As we know, it's executive style. MBA first year is academic and the second year is optional practical. This could give benefit of doubt to the officer maybe for employment.
Okay. Hey, I have to refresh everybody's memory and all the I think you really have to really be sure how to communicate employment and internship. Your OPT, regardless if you're executive MBA, regular MBA, DBA, PhD, is not employment. Okay, it is not employment. Your internships are not employment. Under the university at Alliant, They are allowed that their students will have CPT, curricular practical training or internships, and additional year or OPT or optional practical training. So those are trainings, internships. It's just so happened that you get paid with your internship, but these are not employment. Okay. So to give you an example, we have one candidate. Very careful with this because it's not even if you get a visa when you go to the United States, you have immigration officers. They will check all your information. So let's go back. One candidate, no, I think I have three candidates. And this recently happened. It never happened to us, but we had recently happened candidates. They were given the visa. The visa was approved, thank God. But when they came in, like arrived in the US, in the airport, LAX, the student was asked, like, what's your purpose in coming here? So the student said, I'm here to study and work. Okay, that was the answer of the student. I'm here to study and work. So when he said work, the immigration officer asked the student, okay, show me your work permit. Okay. When the student showed the CPT and OPT, permit, the visa office, I mean, the immigration officer said, I'm sorry, this is not under work permit. You're not allowed here. You are not allowed to work here. You have to go home. So he was already in the LAX airport. They were all sent back to their country. So that was really unfortunate because of the misinformation. Okay. Again, your CPT and OPT are not work. They are your internships. It's just so happened that you earn from it, but it's not considered work. Your internships are integral part to complete your program. Okay. Those are your practical training that you have to take based on your theoretical training that you get or your academic you know academic programs that you got a year before. So it is important, Prashant, to remember OPT and CPT are not work. They are not employment. So that's why when you say a question or an answer, don't mention that I'm there to work anyway. I'm studying and working. It's not even work. It is internship. Okay. It's part of your academic program. So when we advise candidates for visa interview practice, we tell them only answer questions that the visa officer asks you. Do not give out any information that is not being asked. Be responsive to the question of the visa officer. When the visa officer asks you what's your purpose in going to the US, of course, you have to mention that I'm there, or I'm here, or my reason is to go to the United States is to take my degree. Okay, regardless if it's MS, MBA, or DBA, or PhD. Your purpose is to take your degree, not to work and study. Okay? You are not allowed to work in the legal sense of a term. You are there to study. It's just so happened that you have internships embedded in your program. I hope that is clear, Prashant. OPT and CPT are not considered work or employment. Okay? Anybody else? Any other questions?
I'm sorry, I'm coming again. So I'd love to
Mhm.
be clear on something. Um,
Mhm.
I remember someone actually mentioned about the job box, and I was just
Mhm, yes.
wondering because it said if you have like if you still have an existing B1, B2, or J1.
Mhm.
So I was thinking, I mean, I already had application for F1 and I didn't get my approval. Is it recommendable to like put in for J1 and then when I get to the USA, I get to also like add schooling to the J1 program?
Okay.
Do you think this is acceptable at the embassy? Because I'm aware the J1 program is also a study program, but it's just internship and
There's no
training.
internship. Yeah, you're not allowed to do
Exactly.
internship under J1. if you study.
Okay.
Yeah. So under J1, although the visa that we're promoting is F1 visa, there are information that we know about J1, right? You can study under J1 program, but you don't have internships. Now, if you go to the US under J1 for internship, you could, so it's different. You should transfer your visa from J1 to F1 when you study if your purpose in going to US under J1 is internship. So it's, I would suggest if I could not give a decision to that, Omotola. Probably it's your choice. If you want to go on that route or routes, and then go ahead. J1 anyway is a different visa from F1 visa. So if you think that could give you a better option or better chances of, getting in the US, and that would fine. Oh, that would be fine. But I want you to remember that all your information, regardless, your past visa applications, they already have this in their records. Okay, so the visa officer and the U.S. Embassy has all your records, regardless what visa you have. So that is an important information. Okay. So I think, and there's no other question, or there are no more.
I think we don't have any more questions from the participants, Miss Christina.
Okay, so I'll just go run down the tips before we end the webinar, because I think we are already over time. But please schedule appointment as early the day and time as possible for your actual visa interview. If you have the luxury of choosing a date and time, please choose the best time, like a Monday, fresh from the weekend. Visa officers are human too. Please consider that. I always tell the candidates, it's important that they have rested well as well. You are also have rested well before your actual visa interview. Also, when you do visa interview practice or preparation with us, please schedule it 5 days or 7 days before your actual visa schedule. Uh, Please prepare your documents in advance. Put it in an envelope, a folder, or any any form of paper that you can put it, like, to secure their documents. But please remember that your documents, sometimes the visa officer will not even ask you that, because they check documents randomly. However, we want you to bring all your documents in one go, because if you are randomly asked by the visa officer to show your documents, then at least you already have your documents with you. You don't have to go back another day, because they will not give you the result until they will get that document that they're asking. That's how it is. So they will have you come another day to get so that they can get the visa, I mean the requirements, then decide on your visa application. So as much as possible, you have your documents with you, because if randomly you are the one asked by the send your documents, then you have this with you on that day. Arrive early, even if your the embassy is just like 5 minutes away in where you're staying. The reason why we want you to there as much as possible an hour early, because you are already there. You are immense in the situation already. I'm here. I can relax now. There's nothing more I can do except to smile and be pleasant and remember all the information that you have about your university, about yourself, about why you applied for the program. So at least you are there. You arrive there early, so there's no you don't have to panic anymore, like you're late or something else. Okay. So also, when I tell the candidates to be there in business attire, please remember that you're applying as a master's degree applicant. You are admitted students under a master's degree or a DBA degree. So you have to look professional, okay? So come in business attire. So it shows also that the applicants are serious with the program. Be concise. I would like to repeat this. Be concise with your answer. Please do not give out long speeches when you are asked by the visa officer of a particular question. If it's a specific question, always answer the visa officer in a sentence, but if you can answer it in one sentence, then fine. Be responsive to the question of the visa officer. If is asking you about letter A, then you give out the answer about letter A. Do not give out an answer about letter B, then go to letter A. Okay, so be responsive to the question of the officer. Of course, relax, be positive. I know we could not be totally relaxed. I've gone through a visa application as well, but it was B1, B2, but I do understand that when you come in the U.S. embassy, it's kind of intimidating. We have experienced that, but intimidation and sometimes fear does not really do us good because it can affect during our visa interview, right? Sometimes students will black out. They could not even remember, the ones that they have practiced because they're so nervous. So just relax. That's why it's important as well that you sleep before your actual, I mean, the night before your actual interview. You have to rest, okay? Give it up. You already have been prepared. You have prepared so many days already prior to actual visa interview. So just relax and be confident. When we say be confident, when I tell the candidates that you really have to be confident when you answer the visa officer, it's not that you are, arrogant or like when we say confidence is that you can confidently say to the visa officer the answers, right? Your answers are this. These are my truthful answer. This is why I want to study in the United States. This is why I will study at Alliant. So you are confident, you know your program, and you can answer all the questions of the visa officer. That is what the confidence that we are referring to. Okay? I hope this helps. Um, Thank you very much again for your time. I really do appreciate all the questions and your comments. It's so nice to see our students here. Please feel free to schedule a visa interview practice with the enrollment counselor under your program. We will send you the link or the email or links to the calendars of your corresponding enrollment counselor for your particular program. Okay, and please do not be scared to schedule the practice with them. So we are here to support you for your successful visa interview. If you have any other question, if you have a question that you want to ask me, please send an email on this email that is shown here. And yeah, we hope that this helps you. And we're here to do this again. If you have another session with our students, we will be really, really be glad to do this webinar again for our candidates. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, ma'am.
So please note that this session has been recorded and you can find the recording on our YouTube channel once posted. So also, if you haven't followed us on our platform, I have attached the links on the message box below for you to click and follow. Once again, thank you for attending this webinar, and for Miss Christina, have a nice day everyone. Bye-bye.